Yo, what's going on, boys? I'm finally able to fucking stream. My fucking Zoom class took forever to finish, but here we are with the NBA recap for week 12 of the NBA season. We're getting to pretty much the halfway point. We're getting close to All-Star break. I'm gonna be doing an All-Star list who I think should make the All-Star game. I'm not sure when the All-Star game is taking place, but pretty soon here I'm gonna be doing that. I got the Mickey D's and the Gatorade right over here, so after that I'm gonna be feasting. But anyways, if you're new here, we usually do top 25 players of the week, kind of talk about why they deserve to be all stars. I mean, pretty much at this point, if you're in the top 25, of course, you're going to be an all star, really. A lot of injuries happen, and people try to argue with me that certain people are still in the top 25 when they've literally been hurt for a long ass time. But this is the top 25, no questions asked. These are the people I think deserve all star nods. So, yeah, let's get right into it, starting at number 25. A Wizards team that has been kind of struggling, and this guy surprisingly hasn't been on the list as much as I'd like him to. Let's see, but I mean, they're mediocre. The Wizards are very mediocre this year. But Bradley Beal is, of course, who we're talking about, the lone star on this squad. He deserves an All Star nod after the way he's been playing recently, for sure. You know, he's a top 15 scorer in the league. You know, top 100 in rebound or top 95 in rebounding, top 20 in passing, which is crazy for Bradley Beal, really, and top 45 in efficiency. You know, they play OKC here tomorrow. Expect about 20 points, 6 assists, 27 from 344 from the field. Yeah, Bradley Beal, I'm really happy to see him make my top 25 list. Yeah, let's move on here to number 24. There are two Bulls players. You guys, of course, should know who I'm talking about. Um, they've been on a big win streak, and it's because of really two All Star players they have on their squad. Um, First of all, we're going to talk about Levine, of course. This man's played phenomenal this year. You know, he's a top 10 scorer in the league, top 90 rebounder, top 50 passer, top 25 in efficiency. You know, looking at this Detroit game, you can expect about 24 points, 5 assists, 27 from 3, 49% of the field. I really like Zach Levine. He's a very entertaining player to watch, and he's definitely been playing like an all star this year. Yeah, I wouldn't say he's a high all star. I feel like he'd be a bench player, but he's definitely an all star. I think him and DeRozan are honestly like bench players, but the fact that they have two all stars on their team this year is pretty crazy, and that's not something that's happened in Bulls history in quite some time, actually. So, yeah, let's move on to number 23. I'm really happy to see this guy break the list. Um, let's see here. Of course, you know, we're talking about a bad Kings team, of course, but this guy, he's been playing like an absolute all star, certified. We're talking about De'Aaron Fox. I think he's been on this list. He's been kind of in and out. You know, Tyrese Halliburton's kind of been playing at some all star levels recently, especially with all the injuries. But I would say De'Aaron Fox is their lone all star as of now. You know, he's a top 25 scorer in the league. We're not going to mention rebounding. He's top 35 in passing, top 80 in efficiency, which really isn't that good. But yeah, tonight they play Cleveland, a good team. That's going to be a big test for this organization. I don't really think I can see. I don't really see a playoff push from this organization, but I really like how De'Aaron Fox is playing right now. You can expect about 13 points and assists. He doesn't really shoot threes that much, but I mean, 43% from the field against a team like this. So that's just projected. Let's move on to number 22. Right back to the Bulls. We're talking about the Bulls again. Um, and they're playing at a very high level again. Like I said, um, Jesus, why can't I find? I mean, we're talking about DeRozan here, DeMar DeRozan, formerly known as one of the worst free agent pickups in NBA history. I don't know who the fuck put that in everyone's minds, but that is the worst take I've ever heard, even before seeing what DeMar DeRozan has done for this Bulls organization. He's a top 10 scorer in the league, probably top 85 rebounder, top 40 passer, top 15 in efficiency. I mean, he's top 15 in two categories. That's a pretty big deal. Top 14 to be specific. Detroit, you know, you can expect about 19 points, 4 assists, 50% from 3, 43% from the field. He should have a pretty good game there. Moving on, Up next at number 21, this is a guy that's been hurt, but he's overcome those injuries, and I'm so proud of what he's doing right now in the NBA. Um, you know, we're talking about a guy on the Sixers, and for a while, I didn't really consider him as an All Star, given that he's been out for most of the season. But Joel Embiid has definitely earned an All Star nod here, especially with how he's been playing since he's gotten back. Hold on, let me click on his name here. He's a top 10 scorer, he's top 10 rebounder, top 10 in both of those categories, top 45 in passing, top 3 in efficiency. He's been playing at a super high level. It's just he hasn't had enough games to prove that he's a higher up All Star. Yeah, shout out to Joel Embiid. They're playing Houston tonight. That should be an easy dub. He'll probably put up like 31 points, 10 assists, 50% from three, 60% from the field type of night. That's what I'm thinking. Moving on to number 20. Man, I'm so hyped to see this guy play at such a high level. We're talking about the Raptors guy in a Raptors team that has been very hot this year. They're a very good team this year, really. Um, we're talking about Fred VanVleet. This man is a fucking killer. He's a killer. Top 20 scorer, top 85 rebounder, top 15 passer, top 30 in efficiency. He's a fucking beast. Tomorrow they got a tough matchup against Phoenix, but you can expect about 22 points from him, about 7 assists, 41% from 3, 44% from field. He scores a lot, he shoots a lot, very efficient at doing so. I'm really proud of how Fred VanVleet, aka Mini Drake, has been playing all year. That's what people like to call him, of course. He's been an absolute beast. He's been the piece that Toronto has needed to have a successful season so far, and I'm really impressed with how the Raptors are playing. Um, Moving on to number 19, my fantasy guy. You know, Shout out to him. He's on a pretty shitty basketball team. But you know what? Jonas Valanciunas, he deserves the All Star nod. He's been playing incredible all year. He's had a breakout season. Honestly, a most improved worthy season, if I'm being honest. Top 35 scorer in the league. Top 5 rebounder. Excuse me. Top 105 passing. Top 20 in efficiency. Tomorrow, they're playing Minnesota, which is a decent test. Obviously, Minnesota's a better team than them. But yeah, you can expect about 18 points, 2 assists, not really shooting the three against Minnesota, 45% from the field. Jonas Valanciunas, great year. Obviously, he's on a bad team. Maybe they should start considering that for All Star because, you do have Brandon Ingram playing really well for the Pelicans this year. He's obviously not an All Star, but maybe you should take into account team record when choosing All Stars. I think that's kind of dumb, but with the MVP, I guess that's kind of consistent. Moving on to number 18. Speaking of the Timberwolves, we have a Timberwolves just came off a very, very dominant W. Man, Karl-Anthony Towns just came off a 40-point game. We're talking about him right now. Anthony Edwards is pretty borderline All-Star, but you know what? We're going to give the lone All-Star on the Timberwolves to Karl-Anthony Towns, and much deserved. He's top 15 in points and rebounding. He's consistently been so throughout the year. He's a top 60 passer, top 15 in efficiency. Again, they're playing New Orleans. Mediocre team. I would say Minnesota's very mediocre. For the talents they have, they've definitely kind of disappointed this season. But you can probably expect about 28 points, 4 assists, 41% from the three, 46% from the field. He tends to shoot pretty efficient against a pretty bad New Orleans team. Jonas Valanciunas is a big force at big man for them, but he plays good against them. He plays good against pretty much everyone, though. I think that's kind of normal. Moving on to number 17. You know the famous lines of the commentator on this team, the most hyped commentator in the league, Bridges. You know what I'm talking about. This is a good team. We're talking about the Hornets. They got 2 All-Stars here, and the first one I'm going to get into is Miles Bridges. Miles Bridges is playing incredible this year. He's a top 25 scorer. He's top 45 rebounding, top 16 assist, and top 55 in efficiency. Tonight, big test with Milwaukee. I'm definitely going to be watching some NBA games tonight because there's no football until Saturday. So I'm going to be watching a lot of NBA this week. But I'll probably be watching this game tonight. You can expect about 22 points, 2 assists, 33 from 3, 53% from the field against a team like Milwaukee. We'll get to Milwaukee. Milwaukee has a guy, of course. You guys should know who I'm talking about, but we'll get into that here in a second. Don't you worry about it. Moving on, though, to number 16 with a guy on a dominant Nets team, and honestly, like, surprisingly enough, this guy is not the best player on the Jazz. He's not the best player on the Jazz. They just took a pretty hard L. Obviously, they didn't have Rudy Gobert. Fuck, my bad, boys. Obviously, they didn't have Rudy Gobert, but we're talking about Donovan Mitchell. Rudy Gobert's been fighting injuries, and he still manages to be higher on this list. We'll get to that in a second. Donovan Mitchell, top 10 scorer in the league, top 145 rebounder, top 30 passing, top 15 efficiency. Tonight, they get a pretty big break. I don't think Gobert's going to be playing tonight, but it's the Detroit Pistons, one of the worst teams in the league. You know, you can expect about 26 points, 5 assists, 35 from 3, 46% from the field. That's kind of the projection for Donovan Mitchell in a game like this. I don't know if they've played Detroit all year, so maybe that's going to be new for him. I don't know. Very, very good Utah Jazz team, though. Moving on to number 15. We're talking about another guy on this Hornets team, of course. They just got off a big win against Milwaukee, and they're playing them again tonight, so we'll see if they can break them down again. We're talking about LaMelo Ball, though. Because, man, he's the best player on this Hornets team, no doubt. Playing at a very high level. You know, he's a top 30 scorer, top 45 rebounder, top 10 in passing, top 25 in efficiency. So he's at an all-star level efficiency-wise, passing-wise, and scoring-wise. I mean, this guy's the only lacking category is rebounding. And, of course, he's a point guard, averaging 7 rebounds a game, which is really good at 6'7". Man, LaMelo's tall. I didn't realize he was that tall. Anyways, against Milwaukee, you can expect about 28 points, 9 assists, 46 from 3, 49 from the field. He plays really, really good against Milwaukee, and I've actually seen that firsthand. There's a really crazy game like a while ago that was fucking awesome. But anyways, let's move on to number 14 from the Lakers. He does everything he can. I mean, I wouldn't really be mad at the Lakers losing some of these games because I would still say they're a good team. It's just, you know, LeBron doesn't have that much of a supporting cast. He has a guy on his team that's statistically better than him, though, and we will get to that. But obviously, LeBron fighting injuries, he's not going to be super high on my list. He'll probably achieve it eventually because, you know, the injuries all around the league are going to kind of cancel out. And by the end of the season, we're going to definitely see who's the best player, who are some of the best players in the league. And I can definitely see LeBron being in the top 5 easily. You know, he's the second best scorer in the league. You know, he's a top 40 rebounder, top 20 passer, top 5 in efficiency. So he's an all-star in every facet except rebounding, which, you know, they got some big men to do the job. You know, you can expect about 31 points, 8 assists, 22 from 3, 43 from the field against a team like Sacramento. But let's move on here to number 13, the veteran. This guy's been in the league for quite some time now. We are, of course, talking about the Suns here. We're going to talk about Chris Paul. They took a pretty big loss to Miami, but you know what? This team is still top tier, still interchangeable with being the best team in the league with the Warriors. You know, you got a top 80 scorer here, top 110 in rebounding. He's the best passer in the league. That's what sets him apart from a lot of players in this league. Top 35 in efficiency. Tomorrow, they play a good Raptors team. They've had a pretty tough schedule recently, honestly. They've played some pretty big teams. You can expect about 14 points, 10 assists, 33 from field, 47 from, or 32 3 from 3, 47 from the field. Man, my throat fucking hurts, though. And that's not a pause. That's not an Ayo. My throat fucking hurts. I'll get through the video, though. Don't worry, boys. Moving on to number 12. Let's see. How are we doing? How's this team doing? After trading blows with my Celtics, we have a pretty bad Knicks team. At the end of the day, this Knicks team's really not that good. If I was a Knicks fan, I wouldn't be proud of how they're doing. Obviously, this man, Julius Randle, needs more help, but he's still a really good player. Top 25 scorer, top 15 rebounder, top 35 in passing, and top 80 in efficiency. You know, they're playing San Antonio tonight. Pretty good, pretty big break. I mean, honestly, I feel like they can win this game. You know, you can expect about 15 points, 7 assists, 60 from 3, 42 from the field against a team like San Antonio. I would hope the Knicks get the win. I'm obviously not rooting for them because I'm a Celtics fan and they're like, they got the play-in over us, I believe. But yeah, fucking Fournier killed us, by the way. Not a proud moment as a Celtics fan. Moving on to number 11. Speaking of them Spurs, man, he's a bad man. This guy's a bad, bad man on a bad team, but he's a bad, bad man. We're talking about DeJounte Murray. DeJounte Murray, wow, he's most improved. I feel like he has to get the award. I feel like it's him, Miles Bridges, or Valanciunas. I think those are my candidates. He's a top 40 scorer in the league. He's a top 30 rebounder, top 5 in passing, top 35 in efficiency. He's an all-star. Dude, he's 26 in the league. He's an all-star level rebounder. That's crazy. He's a good facilitator. He does pretty much everything you'd want a point guard to do, plus more. Playing the next night, you can expect about 15 points, 7 assists, 40 from 3, 40 from the field. I think him and Julius Randle will definitely have a really good matchup tonight. I probably won't be watching it because I'll be watching the other games on NBA TV, but yeah, I'll probably watch some Stream East, actually. I don't know. I'll have to bootleg some shit. But anyways, moving on to number 10. Kind of disappointing to see this guy this low on the list, and as low, I mean far from one, because really he should be he should really be MVP, but of course, Curry's had a couple mishaps this week, couple kind of inconsistent games, kind of bad games shooting wise, and that's what puts him here. I think he's a top 5 scorer in the league nonetheless, top 75 in rebounding, top 20 in passing, top 20 in efficiency, but and they play Memphis tomorrow. That's going to be a good ass game. I think I'm going to be watching that game actually. Last time they played Memphis, he put up 41, 6 assists, 44 from 3, 47 from the field. He had a really good night. Hopefully, he can rebound from a couple of these bad games that he's had recently, which is really, I mean, he should be considered for MVP. I don't think he should be a candidate, but I think Steph Curry should definitely still be considered for the award, if I'm being honest. But, anyways, moving on to number 9, we have another guy on this absolutely incredible Jazz squad. Pretty dope to see a team like this do good. Despite injuries, again, Rudy Gobert is a top 10 player in the league. I don't want to hear it from anybody. He's a top 60 scorer. He's the best rebounder in the league. Again, when you're the best in a statistical category, you're bound to be an all-star. We're not going to talk about the passing, but he's top 10 in efficiency. He's out. They play the Jazz, and this year he's averaged 16 points and assists. I don't think he's shot a single three. 71% from the field. He's a very, very efficient scorer. When he gets shots up, they're going to fall. He's very good on the inside. Is he the best center in the league? He's definitely top 3. I can think of a center off the top of my head that is better than him, but for a big man, this guy is killer. Shout out to Rudy Gobert for an absolutely incredible season. Um, Moving on to number 8 here. We have 2 top 10 players on the Nets right now. Yes, I said it. They just came off an overtime thriller win. They had a 5-game skid, but like through it all, they still have 2 top 10 players, 2 guys to be mentioned for MVP. I don't know if that's really happened before, but we're talking about James Harden. Top 20 scorer in the league, top 30 rebounder. He's the second best passer in the league, and he's top 30 in efficiency. He is an all-star in pretty much, if like he's pretty much an all-star in every category. Tonight they get a big break. I mean, Portland's not very good this year. He's averaging about 22 points a game, 10 rebounds, 33 from 3, 42% from the field. So yeah, I would expect another good game for him. I mean, honestly, him and KD kind of take some turns like being the star, but both of them play at a consistent level, which is why they're both in the top 10. We will get to KD here in a second. Moving on to number 7. Moving on here to number 7 is a guy on a struggling Hawks team, and I hate to see it. I fucking hate to see this. I hate a guy that's as considered for an MVP, but is on a struggling team. We're talking about Trae Young. That really discounts a lot of his MVP, but I think he should be considered. He's a top 5 scorer in the league. He's top 130 in rebounding, top 3 in passing, top 10 in efficiency. I mean, he's just a really good player. Trae Young is one of my favorite players in the league. I'm really liking how he's playing this year. Incredible. He averages about 28 points a game, 10 assists. That is not easy to do. 37% from 3, 46 from the field. In a couple days here, they got a tough game with Miami. Hawks just can't catch a break. I'm definitely praying for the Hawks fans because I really like Trae Young. Excuse me. Moving on, up next, the other guy on the Nets. We're talking about Kevin Durant. I'm not going to waste any time introducing him. He doesn't need no introduction. He is the best scorer in the league. Kevin Durant. He's one of the best scorers in NBA history as well, if we're being honest. The career totals don't account to that, but you know what? The man is a killer. He's the best. He's the again best scorer in the league. Top 35 rebounder. Top 25 in passing. That's impressive. 30, 38 and 6 is a very impressive stat line for Kevin Durant. He's top 5 in efficiency. Obviously, he has to pass the ball with another really good star on his team. He averages 30 points a game. Yeah, 37% from three, 52% from the field. This guy is efficient. He takes a lot of shots, and he's good at doing it. So he's definitely considered as an MVP candidate right now. But yeah, moving on to number 5, my favorite player in the league. He's on my favorite team, so obviously he's going to be my favorite player. Jayson Tatum. Love him or hate him, he is an MVP candidate. Yeah, the Celtics are not very good. But of course, we get a big break tonight with the Pacers. Hopefully, we take the W there. Jayson Tatum, man. He's a top 15 scorer, top 25 in rebounding, top 60 in passing, top 40 in efficiency. He averages about 26 a game, 4 assists, 33 from 3, 42 from the field. Very, very happy with how Jayson Tatum's playing this year. He's playing at a very, very high level. Hopefully, Jaylen Brown can get back into the All-Star talks. I know it's a little late to do that. He's been hurt way, way too long this season to really be an All-Star as of now. But he's had some good games recently, so maybe he'll climb back. Not very happy with how the Celtics are playing right now, but we're bound to rebound, I feel like. Moving on to number 4. I mean, people aren't going to talk about this guy because he's on a very, very shitty Pacers team. But of course, statistically, he is top 5. We're talking about Domantas Sabonis. He just came off of a 42 bomb against one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. And yeah, they didn't have their starting center, but you know what? They have other guys out there that can help out. They had Hassan Whiteside, for crying out loud. He's a top 30 scorer in the league, top 5 rebounder, top 40 passer, top 15 in efficiency. This guy's playing great, and he's only improved as the season's gone. Not enough to have a good season for the Raptors, or for the Raptors to have a good season. I mean, he's having a great season, but he's averaging 19 points a game, 5 assists, 32% from 3, 59% from the field, though. That's all that matters. When he's inside the arc, he plays absolutely phenomenal. He gets to his spots, he gets buckets. Gotta love how Domantas Sabonis is. And we're getting to the top 3, which means we're getting into our MVP candidates. Do I doubt this guy right here? Yes, a little bit, because he's very inconsistent, but statistically, he may be a stat chaser to some people, but I think he's an MVP candidate. We're talking about Russell Westbrook. His team is a winning record. I think it's safe to say he should be considered. LeBron, here soon, will probably start being considered, but of course, we got a top 30 scorer, a top 30 rebounder, a top 10 passer, top 105 in efficiency. He's one of the worst MVP candidates in history in terms of efficiency, but he's an MVP candidate for me. I know that's a shit take for a lot of people, but the stats say different. He averages, well, in a few days here they played the Kings, which is good for them. He averages about 24 points, 6 assists, 30% from 3, 45% from the field when playing this Kings team. So honestly, not bad. Moving on to number 2, the best center in the league. I should know I'm talking about the reigning, defending, undisputed MVP of the league. The reigning MVP. And this is a good Nuggets team. And this man Jokic is the only reason for it. If we're being honest, he has no other help out there. Austin Rivers just came off a good game though. That's cool to see. But Jokic, he's a top 10 scorer, top 3 rebounding, top 15 in assists, and the most efficient player in the league. He is top 11 in everything. That's on a whole different level. Statistically, this guy is on a whole different level. This man is playing amazing. He's not the MVP of the league, but dude, he is incredible. They're playing the Clippers tomorrow. That's going to be decently easy game, to be honest. You can expect about 26 points, 8 assists, 33 from 3, 38% from the field. Moving on to our MVP, he has been the MVP for fucking weeks. I don't think there's a lot of people that can knock him off of the pedestal. Great Milwaukee team. He is very much responsible for this. It is Giannis Antetokounmpo, the top 3 scorer, the top 10 rebounder, the top 25 passer, and the second most efficient player behind the league, behind Jokic. And I don't think Jokic is the MVP. Giannis' team is better. He is statistically better. Like, I'm literally basing my list off of statistics. I don't know. And tonight's game should be a blockbuster against the Charlotte team. He against Charlotte, he averages 42 points a game, 6 assists, 40 from 3, 59% from the field, and that is through like 2 or 3 meetings this year. He fucking dominates on the Hornets because really, who at the 4 position is going to guard Giannis? I'm not too sure. That's the MVP of the league, whether you fucking like it or not. His team is 26-16. He's the MVP. But anyways, that is the video. Hopefully you enjoyed my analysis. Hopefully you've been enjoying the season so far despite all the COVID. I have a class here at the end of the video in about 52 minutes, so I got a little break to eat my Mickey D's, watch some YouTube, kind of vibe out. It's a 50-minute class. After that class, I'm going to be playing Avengers. I'm actually going to try to get part 1 done off camera. Once I get that hella hard fight scene done, I'm going to start recording. And we're going to do a lot of part 2 as well, so stay tuned to that. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. As always, this has been Jeezy TV, trying to give you guys the most consistent content. Yeah, my throat fucking hurts, but I'm going to have a big break from talking here in a little bit. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff to work on. I'm going to be watching A Quiet Place Part 2 tonight, and you guys are going to get a review for that tomorrow. And I think we're going to start listening to the Weeknd's trilogy, so that should be interesting. But yeah, have a good rest of your day.